Ryan.
Yeah.
So, you know about mountains.
Yeah. I mean, like Space Mountain. I know about the mountain from Game of Thrones.
Oh, do you remember Witch Mountain? Escape from Witch Mountain?
Yes, I do. I remember the one that I remember because it's been made like 3 times. Did you know that?
I knew it's been made twice.
I
And
think
maybe there was a sequel.
so. The one I remember is the remake of the original, and then The Rock. He keeps coming up in our podcast. The fucking Rock.
He does.
The Rock remade it again, but the one that I remember was with Elizabeth Moss as a child.
What?
Yeah,
Was that Elizabeth Moss?
it was.
Okay, so Escape from Witch Mountain was like on heavy rotation in the kid household.
Yeah,
Same for you?
that one. Well, no, because I only could watch it whenever it was on Disney Channel. Whenever I was at somebody's house with Disney Channel.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So is that what we're talking about? Elizabeth Moss?
I'm
or Escape from Witch
talking
Mountain?
about it. It was on Disney. Is that Elizabeth Moss? Really? No.
Yes, it was.
I'm talking about the 1975 version.
No, I'm talking about the remake of that 1975 version.
And what year did that come out?
I don't like in the 90s. Is that what we're talking about?
1995.
I don't even know about. Well, I think this episode is you don't even know that Elizabeth Moss is in the remake of Escape from Witch Mountain.
I did not. Oh my God. No, I didn't.
This is a record, by the way. We have been recording for. There's some stuff at the beginning, but we are already on a tangent. I think we're maybe 2 or 3 minutes in.
You know, mountains. Sorry, I got really excited because this cast is like, not only does it have Elizabeth Moss, but it has Disney Channel original series treasure Eric Von Detten.
Yeah, I know. And I also know that I tried to make a joke there to get you back on track, and you're digging in.
Okay, no, I've got it out of my system now. We're fine.
Okay.
So you know about mountains.
Well, I thought I did. And then I thought you did. But
No.
now I don't know what's what.
Turns out we both have more to learn. And that's what we're here for today. Ba-dam, 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 ba-dam.
Oh, you don't even know.
We're talking about Mount Everest.
Oh.
Yeah. But we're not just talking about Mount Everest. We're talking about something very specific that has lit a fire within me of morbid curiosity that I just hope everyone's down with.
Based on the feedback we got from episode 0, I think yes.
Speaking of, woohoo.
Yeah.
Episode 1.
Yeah. This is it.
Yeah.
This is the official start.
It's begun. Does that mean we're official?
Don't you dare.
So this episode, I wanted to tell you all about the bodies of dead hikers littering the slopes of Mount Everest. Like so many discarded soda cans on Mount Tabor.
Gross.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited for this one. So, again, a peek behind the curtain in our production meeting. I kind of knew this was going to be a topic, but I know nothing about bodies on Everest except what I learned from The Simpsons.
Oh, what did you learn from The Simpsons? We'll start there and we'll build from it.
That is a thing.
Okay.
Because there's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer climbs a mountain. I forget what the name of the mountain is.
Everest.
But they find...
Unavoidable.
So the history of it is that Abe Simpson, who is Homer's dad,
That's
tried
his name?
to Abe.
Okay.
Simpson, yeah,
New
Abraham
information.
Simpson. So he tried to climb it, and I guess there was like a fight between him and his climber
Sherpa?
buddy.
Oh, uh-huh.
And he told the story that he was like a hero, but turns out they were both stranded, and Abe tried to eat the other guy before he was dead.
Oh no.
And Homer, on his way up the mountain, finds the body of that guy with a big bite mark out of him. Yeah, because they had to leave him up there.
Right.
And then they use the body to like sled all the way back down.
Oh, no.
Away from an avalanche.
Oh no.
But because he was
Simpsons.
frozen,
It
they
was
just
solid,
like shaped him into
Oh, my
a
God.
sled.
We can
Yeah.
rebuild him.
Uh-huh.
We will make him sled. That actually is perfect. And without the eating, well, maybe it really lines up to a lot of these situations, including the sled part. Yeah.
Cool. I'm excited. I also like the way you described it as littered.
Truly. And we'll get into this, but littered is a term that you can use metaphorically and literally when talking about what's happening on Everest. It's a trip. And you don't even know.
All right. That's a really long intro. That's a long build-up.
Cut it as is. Cut it and keep it as
Yeah,
is.
and the listeners won't even know.
No, the magic of editing. Mount Everest, our planet's most majestic, tallest peak above sea level.
Okay, it is the tallest mountain.
It is above sea level.
This episode is really going to make me look like a dummy because I'm going to ask a lot of questions that I feel like
No.
are common knowledge.
They are not. I guarantee they are not because, like, I'll start to gush about this stuff to people, and they're like, "You're in the 5% of people who care about this, Alexis. Bottom 5. You're in the 95th percentile. Isn't that how that works? The higher the number percentile, the
I
dumber
don't
you
know.
are."
I have no idea.
That was a test.
Okay, so it's the tallest mountain on
Above
Earth.
sea level.
Above sea level.
And the reason that I keep repeating that is because our oceans are full of mountains.
Okay.
Full of them.
Yeah.
And there are mountains that are higher than Everest,
Yeah.
below the ocean. Are you familiar with the term thalassophobia?
Does it look like I'm familiar with that term? I was almost going to try to repeat it right after you said it, and I couldn't.
Like, do you look like
That's
someone
going to
who...
be the video clip, because everybody who's listening, I'm recording video for video clips for this. I'm just going to supercut, like, all of the times you hit the mic stand.
It's this fucking thing. Is this for this?
Yeah.
Shut up.
No, you shut up.
You shut up.
Then the rest of the episode is just telling us to shut up
Shut up.
on a podcast.
How do I put this up here?
Don't worry about it.
Well, fucking, can it move then? Because
No.
I keep punching it.
Okay.
Oh.
Do you want me to move it?
Yeah. I will keep punching it. I talk with my hands. You know this. You know this. Or can I put this on there? That would be very helpful. How does it work? I want it this way. Portrait way. Shove it in there. Like in between these spots. Like that. Cool. That is a game changer. Why didn't anybody tell me? Yeah, like that way. Yeah. What? This is some professional shit. Holy crap. Oh, and wow, this is amazing. I feel like I have a teleprompter now.
All right. Now I got to cut all of that out.
Put a marker. Do you have a marker? You're like,
Yeah.
I'm listening to the whole thing. I'm a professional.
Oh, yeah. So another aside is, we shared this with friends and everything, and everybody kept saying, I was surprised how good it sounded. I was like, yeah, I'm talking to you, Jesse.
Right?
Motherfucker,
Uh-huh.
I went to school for this shit.
It's like when people have told me, you're much prettier in person.
Damn.
I'm like, well, fuck you too, man.
Yeah, and if you ever want to be a guest on the show, you can, and we'll talk about it more.
That was a very direct yet gentle invitation. I
It was a
like that.
threat.
Yeah. It was a threat. You can.
JK, bud, love you.
But seriously, you should.
Everest.
Everest.
Talking about Everest.
Yeah. It is 29,000-ish feet.
29,000 feet from sea level
Yeah.
to the tippy top.
To the tippy top. And why I
Okay.
say ish is because she growing.
How's that?
Baby grows.
Eating their vegetables and
mountains be moving. They be eating their minerals. Getting the calcium in there. Little
Okay,
calcium
so
deposits.
people who climb Everest, the people who climbed it long ago, didn't climb as high as the people who've done it most recently.
I love
So
that you're such a
everybody-
sports guy that you're like, you didn't win.
Yeah, everybody who climbed, like some guy who finishes the climb tomorrow, can say, "Suck it, everybody else. I'm the best climber."
Yes.
Wow. Should I try to climb Everest?
I mean, maybe wait.
Okay.
It's the fucking iPhone upgrade of mountains.
How does it keep growing?
So continental plates be shifting all the
Oh.
time. And when those plates come together, like big old sheets of rock,
Yeah.
they and make mountains
Okay.
and split and cut off other things and earthquakes and shit.
They start overlapping
Yeah.
and just pushing up against each other. Okay.
And in some cases, eventually it'll go and like jump diagonally down
Yeah.
one plate against the other because that pressure can only take so much. It's the crust after all. It's just a little crust. And when it like that, that's usually when you get gnarliness happening.
Yeah.
And eventually the one that loses goes under the other crust, and that's called the subduction zone.
The subduction zone.
Wait, can I do?
The subduction zone.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's going to sound nice.
velvety.
Yeah. Should I add some effects in there?
Yeah, like a reverb.
Yeah. Give
Yeah.
it one more.
The subduction zone.
I think that was worse.
No, that's going to be good.
All right,
Yeah.
you have options. So as it's now that the pressure's been released and in this,
Subduction zone.
it can go underneath that other plate that won the rock paper rock
Yeah.
of this game, can then continue on its merry way, shifting up. And so, like through all those interactions and crazy geological explosions, etc., shit be getting bigger, and Everest is no exception. And yeah, every day we get a little further from God.
And that's why we keep our garbage up there?
Yes. And I'm happy to talk about this part first, because we've mentioned the garbage of it twice now. Everest has gotten very popular. Very popular. As a thing to do. As we've gotten more prosperous as a species, more people have access to the kind of wealth and time that you need to take to be someone who climbs Everest. Because this kind of scale of mountaineering, it's no fucking joke, right? Like you need oxygen,
Yeah.
lots of it. You need Sherpas to guide you.
Yeah, that was the other thing. In The Simpsons, they had Sherpas too. And they're like,
Yeah.
I wish it's going to be something so simple like Mount Springfield or something like that.
Oh, what the
Whatever
name of
the
the
mountain
mountain
they
is?
climb. And that's like, people really do that, right? The Sherpas are the
Yes.
ones climbing this all the time. And
Yep.
it's Whitey who's like, I did it. And these guys are like, I've done this.
I've done this 50 times.
Is that true?
already.
Is that...
Yes, and I can absolutely do another You Don't Even Know About Sherpas, which I'm totally down to do, because it's a fascinating byproduct of imperialism and capitalism that we have these communities of people who have hereditary now
Yeah.
professions as Sherpas and porters, taking mostly white people, but people of significantly more privilege
Yeah.
and access than they do, up these mountains for the hell of it all. You know, it's
Right.
not like people are doing this for science. I mean, some of them are.
The
some of
first
them are.
ones probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, the first ones were probably more likely on that imperialist side.
Oh.
You know, that were
Yeah.
like, I've
Oh,
got
sure,
the approval
yeah.
from the queen.
Yeah, like the middle ones maybe then.
Yeah. When they got some instruments.
Yeah.
But for the most part, people are doing it for a bucket list, right? Like
Sure.
I climb Mount Everest, you know?
Yeah.
Or it's a celebratory thing. At this point, people are doing it as like team building things for their job. Crazy.
What?
And that's not to say that it's easy to climb Everest, because it is not. But the amount of equipment that you can get that makes that climb possible has advanced so much
Yeah.
that now people are bringing like dozens of canisters of oxygen.
How are they carrying all this up?
Sherpas.
Oh. They're making Sherpas like
Well, yeah.
mule all the
Yeah.
things?
I mean, like a lot of these individuals can hire teams of support that
Oh.
are like, you know,
Yeah.
like Lance Armstrong. He's like biking along and he's got his van that's got his water and shit, and the person that's toweling him, they're biking beside him
Yeah.
and toweling him down. Like it's that kind of vibe.
But you're allowed to do drugs and steroids and stuff.
Oh yeah, no
for
one cares what you do on the
climbing
mountain.
Everest.
What happens
They're
on the
not gonna
mountain
take
stays on the
away
mountain.
your jerseys.
You can do
Well,
whatever
that's
you
cool.
want. Some people have taken it as a challenge upon themselves to not use oxygen at all,
Oh, it's like a next level challenge.
which is some madness.
Has somebody done it?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that what's littered up there? Is all the first attempters?
Well, so there are currently at least 310 people that have died attempting to reach the summit, and most of their bodies are still there.
Ew, what does that mean? Most.
I say most because some of them died in situations where they could be easily, well, not easily, but they could be retrieved. Like maybe
Yeah.
they died closer to one of the base camps, because there are several like stages to climbing the mountain.
Yeah.
And some base camps are more accessible than others even. And then, so those people could set up expeditions to retrieve them. But other people died either in situations like collapses of these columns of glacial ice. Oh, it's just nightmarish shit. Just like huge columns of sharp as fuck ice that's formed over the path of the glaciers coming down that just like a giant icicle and just
There's our video clip.
and then their body is swept away, you know, in an avalanche, and it's carried to a face of the mountain that isn't accessible. So now they're just there, just boop, on the side of the mountain
Whoa.
forever, because you can't retrieve them.
Yeah.
So they just become landmarks.
Ew.
Yeah.
This is gonna be me the whole rest of the episode going, ew, gross.
This is 100% going to be you the whole rest of the episode. And what's wild about it is, think about like any popular trail that you might have hiked before.
Yeah.
You can look up guides for a lot of trails. And the way that those guides work is they describe the route by using landmarks that you'll encounter on the trail. It just so happens that one of the most easily identifiable landmarks on a white glacial hellscape is a bright neon windbreaker.
Right, naturally.
And because of the, you know, the nature of fucking snow clothing equipment companies
In the 80s.
in the 80s.
Is that right?
Well,
That
Yes.
was the the mental picture I came up with.
So it's funny you say in the 80s. Before 1996, 1 in 4 climbers died making the ascent. 1 in 4.
What?
Yeah, before 1996. After 1996, it's just been fucking weird. So
Why?
we'll
What is
talk
that?
about that. We'll talk
Okay.
about that. But that means that there were a lot of climbers that died when there were some pretty atrocious colors and materials being used in
Right,
windbreakers. But what it means
It's
is
a weird time for fashion.
exactly lots of padding, lots of V-shaped things,
Yeah, like jagged edges.
jagged edges. Yeah, nipped in waist, but big pants. So their equipment and their bodies, in lots of cases, and certainly their bright ass clothing, are perfectly preserved.
Because it's so cold.
So cold, the oxygen's so thin. There's no critters up there that are going to be nothing.
Ew.
Listen, Ryan, isn't this
I just had a thought too. If it wasn't so morbid, that'd be a sick ass advertisement for like the North Face. The jacket is still like in perfect condition.
Oh no! Wait, but if okay, so like in the not so distant Black Mirror future, right? The algorithm's gonna get so specific that it'll make ads just for your eyes only, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it won't have to be like at the mercy of the public opinion.
Yeah.
So
right.
it'll be like, you know who fucking like this?
Ryan.
Alexis. And it'll deliver that shit to me, and I'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, sick.
Yeah.
Bang. Because you never know. And to be honest, when I first read about this and was like, well, of course they would be so easy to spot a bright neon green,
Yeah.
ski jacket up on a white background. Like, of course, that would be so easy to see.
Yeah.
But I there was a period of time where I was very much like a true crime podcast listener,
Oh yeah.
particularly when I like had to drive a lot for my job.
Which is
That would-
weird.
Yes.
No, not that you had to do that, but that's the thing you chose to listen to as you were on the road by yourself
By myself
as a tiny white woman.
with no one that I knew within like 6 hours of me. And then I
Yeah.
got robbed.
Right.
Well,
Twice.
so to this point, it got me thinking a lot about how, if you were to go missing and your body would need to be located,
Yeah.
it is going to be easier to find if it's in a brightly colored, cute little ski jumpsuit.
So they would choose bold colors with the idea that they might not survive?
I don't know that to be true, but I can't imagine that the average climber of Everest goes into it without a healthy dose of I might die
Yeah.
doing this.
There's
So
the tagline for North Face's new ad campaign.
a healthy
is-
dose of I might die doing this.
Oh, that's good too, but I was thinking like when they release their bright colored mountain gear, it's like North Face, help your buddy out.
So you can be found. Wait. North Face. Find yourself out there.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then you'll be like, oh, that's inspiring. And then it'll cut to like this like leg sticking
Right.
out
Yeah.
of the ice.
Horrible.
And what we're going to talk about, actually. Most of the deaths in the high altitude zones are caused by, and actually, I should note, anything over 8,000 meters, aka 26,000 feet. So you're getting really close to the summit here. It's actually called the death zone.
The death zone.
Because so many people have died in that area.
And because it's so easy to die up there, the air is so thin that the human body, like, it can't acclimatize. These people that do it without oxygen, usually, like, once they finally get to the top, they're like,
Yeah.
And so, because it uses oxygen faster than it can be replenished because oxygen's so thin. So you'll start to lose your vital functions, the use of your limbs, you'll get confused. And so those deaths either happen directly, like like the loss of oxygen caused your body to shut down, or indirectly, and this one's so sad to me and the cause of so many interesting true crime stuff as well. And the indirect one is when your body has been so affected by
The death zone.
that you become so confused that you start making poor decisions,
Oh,
poor survival decisions.
yeah.
So there was one instance in 1996, which was one of the worst years for deaths on Everest, and also for me. That was the year that my mom cut my hair in a bowl cut.
Oh, I saw that photo.
It's
Yeah.
cute though, huh? But it's wrong.
Everybody was doing it, right? I don't
No,
remember 1996.
No, they weren't. Well, I mean, maybe Jonathan Taylor Thomas was doing it.
Is that why there were so many more deaths? Because they were trying to escape their horrible haircut? They decided to climb a mountain?
Get as far away as possible.
Is that why? Is that what the spike was?
It's a niche reason, but there weren't so many people climbing the mountain, so the ones that were doing that, they just made up a higher percentage of an already small number. But when it comes to people dying in such an extreme way, any amount is like, what? Because people are they're choosing to do this, right?
Yeah.
And that includes the Sherpas and the porters that get hired to do that as well. I mean, in a lot of cases, their families are directly tied to this industry, and their sons and their fathers were all Sherpas as well. And it's a weird, like, cyclical, like, we all might die, but fuck it, like, we're doing it together. And it, like, they only get paid so long as there are people climbing Everest, and they're only going to be people climbing Everest if there's a support staff that can come with them. And it's a crazy thing that way. But 1996, there was a blizzard that was covering a significant portion of the primary trail that people usually take when they come up the mountain. And that's kind of interesting too. It's like, because the mountain's so fucking big and where it is, there's like a Chinese side and like a Tibetan side, and because it spans out over the Himalayas into multiple regions.
Oh, so like, if you climb it,
You can take different ways.
Yeah, and climb into another country.
Theoretically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I highly recommend folks at home, you pull up a little map that will not only show you the face of Everest, but also the markings of where the bodies are along the different trails.
Should we link that somewhere?
Absolutely. It will be in
Okay.
the show notes, I promise.
This time.
This time, it'll be in the show notes.
There's going to be show notes, Paul. Don't worry.
Where's the damn show notes? Yeah, so you can take a bunch of different routes up there. And in 1996, this blizzard came out while it just so happened people were summiting. And what I mean by that is it takes a long time to climb the fucking mountain. Some people do it really fast because they're gnarly, but most people do it in stages, and you have to wait to summit until the weather's good.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to tell what's going to happen sometimes because that climate up there is so unique that it's really hard to monitor, and like weather conditions can change really fast. And this is the awkward part about it, but you're making a life or death decision based on how good the photo is going to be.
What?
Well, think about
when
it.
you take like the photo from when we get to the top.
Yeah, that's
No
the whole
way.
fucking point, right? Is that you're going up there so you can go,
The ultimate Pixar didn't
Delphi.
happen.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Well, I mean, like, some people do it for the hell of it, but you still you want to be able to stand up there and look out at the great wide yonder and stuff. And
No,
also,
you take a souvenir to prove it. Take a finger or whatever.
yeah.
Or a hiking boot with the foot still inside.
So these people, they got the go ahead that it was going to be okay to go summit. And so they started that process. And once you start, you got to commit, you know?
Yeah.
You have to decide, all right, I'm going to do this. A similar thing happened on Mount Hood I think in the 70s, where there was a group of, I think, high school students that tried to summit Mount Hood during a blizzard. And at the beginning of the day, it didn't look like it was going to blizzard. And they were like, maybe there's going to be some rain. But then it started to snow, and they had to decide, well, are we going to be bitches about it?
Yeah.
We're going to do it. Ripple gives you wings.
Whoa.
Well, yeah, but it was the 70s, you know? So,
Oh, sure, yeah.
and all the high school students had big handlebar mustaches.
Right. And the one kid was like, what's Red Bull? And the other one was like, don't worry about it. It'll make
You'll
sense
see.
in 20 years.
You'll all see. I want to be famous. So they decided we're going to do it. And of course, some of them
didn't.
died. Yeah. And it was a tragedy and terrible. And similarly, this group of people that were work colleagues together, I believe most of them were from India, decided to go summit. And the blizzard and the subsequent like avalanche and all the crazy shit that was happening on the mountain caused 8 people to die in that one day, that one incident. Yeah.
In a single day, 8 people died.
Yeah. May 11th, 1996. So yeah, and it's wild to think that before 1996, it was 1 in 4 climbers died, while in 1996, 1 in 7 died. Which sounds strange,
Yeah.
but it's just the nature of like technology and how things are going.
Yeah.
In 2014, this is so sad. April 18th, 2014, 16 Sherpas were killed in an avalanche,
Whoa.
which is insane to think about.
And is that in... No, you gave a specific date, so that means that they all died on the same
Yeah.
ascent?
In the same ascent, in the same avalanche. They were just doing their job.
So how big are the groups that go up typically? Or
So-
does it just vary?
Well, it used to be that having the resources to climb Everest was pretty rare, right?
Yeah.
You either had to be like Sir Ernest Shackleton, and have the clout, if you will, to get National Geographic to sponsor your ascent, and have all the connections in the local Tibetan villages and stuff. China,
Yeah.
don't come after me. Tibet's real, free Tibet. But now it's so relatively easy to be able to do that there are lines to summit.
What do you mean?
And by lines, I mean like queues,
Oh, like at Disneyland.
like at Disneyland.
To go to the Matterhorn.
Except this is the real Matterhorn.
Right.
And instead of riding the ride, you're summiting the tallest peak above sea level on the
So
planet.
you have to queue up. Like they're-
in an already extremely dangerous, like this isn't like climbing your arduous level hike at Forest Park. Like this is a life-threatening climb on the best of conditions with the best route and the best weather. You can absolutely still die from all kinds of things, like giant ice columns shafting out into your body. So now there are lines of people that take hours longer to get through, to get to the top. And then you have moments to go, and then you have to move because it's a fucking summit. She's just a
Yeah.
little peaky peak. There's only so much room up there.
Yeah.
So you got to move, which makes it so weird to me.
Yeah.
You've spent all of this time and money and physical and emotional investment in doing this crazy fucking thing. Only to, it's like sitting on Santa's lap at the mall.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
waited in line. Your face is red from crying because you didn't want to do this anyway. You know that's not Santa, but your parents are making you do it. I never had to do this, by the way. I'm really proud of my parents for not making me do it. So this is a metaphorical you. Hypothetical you. But these people then, and then they're gone. Back down the mountain.
Wow.
But what's terrible is while they're queuing, they're in
The death zone.
Oh, because the death zone goes from that point
from
all the way to the
26,000
top.
up to the 29,000-ish.
Yeah.
And so they're now spending that much more time in the most dangerous area of the mountain in terms of conditions
Yeah.
for the human body to be in. And as more people are trying to summit without oxygen, that makes it even dangerous for
Because
them.
they're just up there longer, waiting. And
Have you ever been rational when you've been waiting in a long line?
try doing it when you have no air.
Exactly. When that will lead to disorientation and poor decision making.
Yeah.
So you're going to try cutting people off, cutting in
Right.
the line,
Taking bites out of
taking bites out of
people.
other people's funnel cake. In this case, they're Cliff Bar.
That got me thinking too. So they leave the bodies just because they can't get to them, right?
Yeah.
That's
In a
kind
lot of cases.
That's okay.
Yeah.
What about this? Because there's a lot of stuff to take up. I'm
Yes.
feeling like in my head it's a pack in, pack out kind of thing where
No.
like camping. Okay, so that was my
No.
that
It's
was my
like Fight
feeling,
Club. Like
and
there are
didn't-
rules.
I
but
didn't want that to be the case, but it is.
So you asked about littering like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And this is the long way of me saying a result of people having to stand in those queues, knowing that they're going to, it's like knowing you're going to have to stand in the long line at Disneyland. People are going to wear the comfy shoes and bring extra water bottles or whatever. And then people are fucking animals at Disneyland and they just throw that shit on the ground while they're in the line. And no one's
Whoa.
going to say shit because there's 100,000 other people there. And whatever, we
Yeah.
all acknowledge we're all animals on in this line, and we just want to ride the fucking Matterhorn. Blah. And these people in line are kind of in the same but way more extreme situation
Yeah.
where they're all realizing we're going to need to be here for a minute. So they plan to bring a shit ton more oxygen in the canisters, which they have to use now more and more of because their body is using it faster than it can be replenished, faster
Yeah.
than their body can process it. So their Sherpas are having to carry more. They're having to carry more, but they're having to use it. But you can't, like, everything that you carry takes a toll on you, takes
Yeah.
a toll on your body.
Right.
So they just fucking chuck it.
Crazy.
So that's what I mean when I say that Everest is literally and metaphorically littered.
Wow.
And it's everything you can think of, but the oxygen
bar
tanks
wrappers.
ones. Yeah. Shit.
Oh.
Oh my
gross.
God. That's a fascinating article rabbit hole to go down.
Let's not.
But just like, not specifically, but like all of the things
Yeah.
that
Right.
are just there,
Yeah.
including bodies.
Yeah.
And
That's.
yeah.
I mean, like that's so wild to think about because when I walk downtown or somewhere, there's garbage on the floor and it's gross and it makes me frustrated.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine if it was garbage and then shit and bodies.
It becomes this really morbid exercise of why of
Yeah.
adventure for what. I mean,
Yeah.
it's in the same way that Disneyland stops being fun when you spend 90% of your time there in a line
Yeah.
surrounded by people that you don't want to touch, only to ride a ride for 10 seconds and then off you go. Now you're speed running over to the next line. And it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
In the same way, Everest is now littered with all this crazy morbid shit. And you're beelining it up there. In 2019, which was a season that had a record number of climbers, 11 people died that year. Just still,
Well,
with all the advances that we have and all the people on the mountain that would be able to help them,
still
potentially,
11 people died.
still 11 people died, which says to me that they're not getting it. Like, it's still an extremely dangerous thing to do.
Yeah.
And you're making it worse by making it harder for people to summit, only to take a picture of what?
Right.
We've
Yeah.
ruined this place.
Yeah.
This beautiful place, which was the whole reason why you wanted to get there in the first place. Yeah. You can look up videos on YouTube because we're there now, right? in time, where you can see the queues of people.
Oh, I want to see that.
Yeah. It's, if you can imagine a visual in your mind, like
So should we link it?
yes, we'll link in the show notes.
Okay.
The clearest blue sky, the crispest white mountain, the most insane things happening on that trail, and then just this endless snake, like on your Nokia, of people. And in the same way, like the more people that are up there, the more long the snake gets, and the more dangerous that it gets. The one wrong move, everywhere.
Wow, I don't like that.
So it's very dangerous, and yet because 11 people still died, and people are like, well, there's all those people up there. Why didn't somebody help them? This is a big point of contention amongst mountain climbers. Because there's an agreement that if you're going up there, you're taking your life into your own hands,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, you have full bodily autonomy at that point. The moment you leave base camp is the moment that you're like, I got
this.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wow, I didn't like that. Oh, wait, I can edit that out. Okay.
You could. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to. For example, there was an expedition in 1996, where that group of Indian business people weren't the only people that were on the mountain summiting at the time. There was also a group of Japanese climbers who were later accused of all kinds of things. And there was huge controversy around whether or not they should have helped the Indian climbers that got stranded in the avalanche.
Oh.
Because they ran into them and they could tell that they were getting disoriented. One of the Indian climbers refused to put his gloves on,
What?
which is a bad sign.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I need gloves when it's fucking 40 degrees here. This homie's climbing Everest and he's saying, no,
All right.
I don't want to
I
put
want to
them
feel
on.
the snow.
Yeah. It's burning. Right? They were having trouble clipping on their ropes. And the Japanese climbers explained what all the other seasoned climbers who do this thing regularly or understand this practice and everybody else didn't seem to understand, which was, when you're doing this, like, you can't stop. You've planned for only so much oxygen. Everything you do uses it.
Yeah.
Everything.
Every movement.
You can't share.
Right.
You just gotta fucking go, no matter what. So they said, we saw that they were struggling. We told them to put on their fucking gloves. They didn't. We tried to help them clip their ropes, and then we had to skip them and move on.
Yeah.
There was thoughts that maybe they saw them afterwards stranded on the sides of the mountain and didn't help. But it's the same deal. Like, they can't take them down. And it's so difficult to bring the bodies down that most of the climbers that die on the mountain stay there where they fell. They don't get moved. In the case of that 1996 thing, there was one climber who's still not been identified. They call him Green Boots. The boots that he's wearing are so distinctive, like the brand and the color,
Yeah.
that, like, you can recognize them as you're walking by. He's curled up in this cave at 27,900 feet, so very close to the summit. They don't know quite how he died, probably from exposure, but he still hasn't been identified.
So not even the climbers he was with have said?
Well, because they died.
Wait, oh, I'm sorry. I missed that.
He was part of that 1996
okay.
expedition. And it was until 2014, all the expeditions that went up the North Side Trail would have to go past him.
Whoa.
Because he's just right there in this little cave, like right off to the side. It's fucking crazy.
That's so morbid.
Yeah. There was a climber.
Now nobody wears green boots. Oh my God.
Well, yeah, because it's very distinctive. There was a climber in 2006, David Sharp. He was from the UK. And they found him in the Green Boots cave. This other climber found him. And he was like, this guy is struggling. He's in hypothermic distress. What do I do? Base camp gave him instructions, but he wasn't able to help him. And he had to fucking move on. He had to just keep going. He saw this man was dying next to an already dead dude that was so famous for being the dead dude right there.
Yeah.
And
then he was all like, I'll never be as famous as this guy.
I just lie
And
down
that
right
was his
here
last thought.
forever. Blue.
Horrible.
Well, it is horrible. People, okay, this is so sad. About 36 other climbers would have passed by him that day. This guy that was dying next to Green Boots.
Wow.
And it's been suggested that the people who saw him, they thought he was Green Boots, so they didn't pay any attention to it.
Whoa.
Yeah. They were so ready for and used to the sight of a dead person right off the trail that they didn't even think to look at it.
This is like a whole different perspective on people who decide to do stuff like this.
Yes! You don't even know! And I'm so glad that that's what you're getting from this too. Because to me, it's like in some ways, it's sort of like driving around a city and seeing homeless camps.
Desensitizes you to those
Totally
things.
desensitizes you. Or living in a city that juts up against a slum
Right.
or a shantytown thing. When
Yeah.
I was in South Africa, that was so weird to me that
Yeah.
there would be like a metropolis on a beach and then like a mile outside of that were people living in corrugated tin huts.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay with that. And
Right.
you just have to have this like alternate reality that you live in if you're going up that trail and you're so ready to see a dead person that you don't even like bother to look at the dead person.
Yeah.
Just for the shits of it all.
Right. I guess maybe the thing that makes it a little worse in my mind is that this is a voluntary activity that you seek out to go, where those instances are like, this is my community.
Yes.
You know,
I
as
live
horrible
here.
as
Yeah.
it is, it's someplace that people live and that maybe is developed through like, you know,
Yeah.
economics and politics and all that stuff. This Everest thing is, no, I want to go do that.
Yeah.
I know that I'm going to see these things and I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of person.
That's a very different kind of person. And we're not talking about people who are like homicide detectives
Yeah.
or forensic examiners or shit that are used to seeing dead bodies.
They
Like,
just want to like,
these are just average people. These are like businessmen and fucking nurses and like just random ass people.
Yeah.
And like professional mountain climbers who are just like, yep, dead guy.
yeah.
I want to tell you about one more climber because again, they all had these nicknames. And in 2014, a Chinese expedition, they believe, moved Green Boots. He's not there anymore. They moved him to somewhere else.
What? Just because they wanted to?
They couldn't bring him down all the way, but
they were trying to.
they were trying to bring him down.
to identify.
So they
him?
had to leave him in a different area, like off the trail.
Oh, and
Yeah.
then they remark the landmark
Yeah.
because
But I
that
think
fucks everybody up.
from where it is now, you can't see him anymore.
Oh,
Yeah. So there was another climber who earned the nickname Sleeping Beauty. Her name was Frances Arsentiev. She died in 1998 after an unsuccessful descent from Everest after summiting. So she made it to the top, but then didn't make it back down. She was trying to find her husband who was like lost in the snow, and she ended up getting stranded herself. And her body remained where she fell and was completely visible, like her face and like her sweatshirt, like everything. It was all visible until 2007, where an expedition was finally able to like ceremonially hide it.
oh.
Like, they obscured it.
So there are certain groups of climbers that are less accustomed to morbidity that they're trying to like.
Give some respect to
Yeah,
these people,
okay.
that they're not just like signposts on a ski slope,
Yeah.
that they were humans
Yeah.
that had families
Yeah.
and dreams, like climbing Everest.
Yeah.
And really tragic stories like hers, where it was her and her husband, and they both died up there.
Yeah.
Wait, I think actually he might have survived. Anyway, so now it's become so fucking dark that you have expeditions of people going not to summit Everest.
Oh, they just, yeah.
They go to hide the body or move the body or try to recover the body. That's why they're out there doing a still totally life-threatening activity. Like you're still climbing Everest, even if you're not doing it to summit. You still die from any of the number of things
Yeah.
that you could die from. But they're doing it to try to curb this insane problem that
Wow.
we've created through our determination to be exceptional. For, I don't know.
That is wild.
Yeah.
You know what I think?
What?
I think we should wrap this up and go climb Everest.
You know what? Why not?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. I want to hire some people, though. I don't want to carry anything. I got weak wrists.
And ankles.
Yeah. But you already knew that. And now you know.
Wow. Thanks, kid.
Yeah.
That is, I didn't know any of that.
Yeah. There's so much more to know about it, too. So hopefully that opened up a little rabbit hole
Yeah.
that you can wonderland yourself down into.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Or up to.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. You're welcome. All right.
Yeah. That's all.
Did you have a sign off? I forget.
I think it was that. And now you know.
Okay.
So,
Goodbye.
bye.